It's been 3 years since Aussie Robert Pether was thrown into an Iraqi jail and left to languish. Now he's written a desperate letter pleading for our government to act before it's too late.
April 2021, Aussie engineer Robert Pether flies to Iraq in an attempt to resolve a contract dispute between his employer and the country's central bank. Almost immediately, he and a colleague are sent to prison, accused of defrauding the Iraqi government. Beaten, starved and threatened with torture, Robert is forced to sign a confession in Arabic, a language he doesn't understand. He's sentenced to 5 years and given an $18 million fine for fraud. A UN report has since called it arbitrary detention and called for his immediate release.
This was a state-sponsored kidnapping in order to gain leverage in some other dispute.
3 years on, Robert remains in that Baghdad jail. Now he's written a letter begging our government for help.
I am a husband and a father of 4, and I miss my family so much. I've missed so many milestones.
He goes on to say,
I have pleaded for 3 years for Prime Minister Albanese and Foreign Minister Wong to do everything they can to get me home. So far, I just feel abandoned. I am sick and worried I will not survive this ordeal much longer.
Sean Turnell knows all too well how it feels to suffer in a foreign prison. In 2021, he was detained in Myanmar for 21 months.
Sometimes when you're over there and you're alone in your cell, it's very easy to feel abandoned, whether that's the case or not. So it's a pretty awful feeling.
He says the state of Robert's physical and mental health is a major worry.
My understanding is that he has been particularly ill-treated compared to other people in similar situations. So, it just gives me extra feeling of, very deeper sympathy and understanding for Robert in his position.
But the PM says the government's doing everything in its power to lobby for Pether's release.
We have made enormous efforts, including direct contact by myself as Prime Minister.
These things are always really difficult for government because, there's that critical decision. How much do you go public? How much do you do in the background?
For Robert Pether, he has one simple request.
I want to go back to Australia and hear the birds, swim at the beach and feel the sun on my skin.
Robert's wife Desree is here to update us on her husband's condition. Desree, how is Robert doing?
Robert's not doing well at all. We speak to him every day, but it sounds really good that you can speak to him every day, but it's not, because it's really hard. There's so many taboo subjects and his health has deteriorated so much and it's a real struggle for him.
Desiree, clearly your family needs help. The Australian government says, look, we've done everything we can to help Robert. What's your view on that attitude from Canberra?
I politely disagree with that. I think there's significantly more that can be done. I know that a recent article cited multiple sources from within Iraq which stated the same as what I've been told on embassy visits, and also our pro bono human rights lawyer has been told that if Prime Minister Albanese meets with his counterpart, there could be a resolution found. So we're calling for people to please write to Prime Minister Albanese and Senator Wong and ask them, please, to do more. There is so much more that can be done.
Meanwhile, as a family without a father, you without a husband, so many missed milestones. Do you remember the first milestone that he wasn't there for?
His birthday. His birthday is the 22nd of April and he was arrested on the 7th of April. So that was the first one. And we were convinced that it would only be like 24, 48 hours because in our minds, he should never have even been arrested in the first place. And then it was Lynn's 18 and then it was Oscar's 16 and it just kept going. And there's been so many. We've got a box with all of the gifts that we've bought him just sitting in a room, and we've actually stopped buying gifts now because we realise that if he ever does get home, it's going to be so overwhelming on all these gifts.
Oh, I mean, those abandoned gifts, it's just such a sad image, those gifts just sitting there waiting to be claimed. It's 3 years of this sort of stuff. How are you and the kids coping?
We're coping as best we can. The kids really struggle. I really struggle. There's panic attacks, there's anxiety with all of us. And it's like an explosion's happened in our family. We're a really close-knit family and he's missing from us. And it's just really, really hard. It's hard to keep the boys on, an even keel as they've left school, become men. Every one of us in some way is fighting a battle, trying to move through this, to keep living, but still fight wherever we can for him.
Desree, hopefully something is done and soon. Hang in there, and thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the support.